The Democrats are trying to trot out everything now because this is the time when they think they're going to put this away. Between the first debate and the second debate, they're going to trash Trump. He's going to go down in the polls, and they're finally going to destroy him. It's going to be over. And the avatar of destruction is going to be a woman named Alicia Machado. Now, you remember, we talked about this in the debate yesterday, that Donald Trump in the debate, Hillary Clinton, at a certain point, she said, there's a woman who used to be a Miss Universe contestant for you, and you called her Miss Piggy, and you called her Miss Housekeeping because she was Latina, and you're a sexist, basically. And Trump got all flustered and he didn't know what to say. And then he said, well, I could say very mean things about your family, but I'm not going to do that because I'm a nice guy. It was ridiculous. But Hillary Clinton is now tweeting out videos of this woman, Alicia Machado. And what she's tweeting out is she's tweeting out this video basically saying any person who insults a woman on the basis of her weight cannot be president of the United States. This is the direct quote. A man who bullies and shames a woman for her weight should never become president. Okay, so I have a few issues with this particular formulation. A man who bullies and shames a woman for her weight should never become president. First of all, if you can name me any man who has never made a joke about a woman's weight, they don't exist, okay? If you can name me a woman who's never made a joke about a woman's weight, then show me that person, okay? The office of the presidency will be, as Dr. Sowell wanted, as Professor Sowell wanted, unoccupied. There'll be no one left in the United States who's never said anything bad about another woman's weight. Taylor, have you ever met a girl who's never said anything bad about any woman's weight at any point? Nope, Taylor has not. Dudes, ever met anybody who's never said anything bad about a woman's weight? At anybody? No, they don't exist. These people don't exist. Now, it's not the same thing as saying something directly mean to a woman about her own weight, obviously, but that just means you're nasty. It doesn't mean that you can't be president. Hillary Clinton's a nasty piece of goods. She bullied an alleged rape victim, Juanita Broderick. I mean, that seems to me a lot more troublesome than him calling this Miss Universe contestant Miss Piggy. By the way that the media treated this lady, for people who don't know, the original story is that this lady was the Miss Universe contestant. She gained a crap load of weight. And then Donald Trump did like an exercise video with her to try and get her to lose weight because she's contractually bound not to become fat, right? If you're Miss Universe, sorry to break it to you folks, if you're Miss Universe, it's a beauty contest. In beauty contests, if you win, the obligation is for you not to become fat, right? That's actually in the contract. And so how did the media cover it? Okay, headline from People magazine, 1997, about this woman, Alicia Machado, quote, weight of the world. That's the name of the story from People magazine. May 1997, female Orlando Sentinel writer calls Alicia Machado, quote, a blimped-out reigning queen. That'd be Charles Hoskinen, who writes for the Washington Examiner, did this research. CNN, quote, some people, when they have pressure, eat too much, like me, like Alicia. Quoting Donald Trump, 1997, CNN also said, as her universe expanded, so did her waistline. That's a quote from CNN, okay? So let's cut out this whole high and mighty, anybody who makes a joke about the fat girl, it's the end of the world, no one can. Now, does that mean you're not a jerk? No, of course you're a jerk. Of course he's a jerk, okay? If this is your first rodeo and you're just learning Donald Trump is a nasty piece of goods, welcome. He's a nasty piece of goods. Does that mean he can't be president of the United States? No, of course not. This is so stupid. This is so, and there's something sexist about this too. Okay, Hillary Clinton says, any man who says anything bad about a woman's weight and who bullies and shames a woman about her weight cannot be president. I was under the impression women were strong. I thought Hillary's whole pitch is, we tough things out, right? I toughed out pneumonia, right? Women are so strong. Women not only give birth, they can pull trains. Women they're emotionally strong. They handle things men couldn't even dream of handling. Okay, if that's true, then how about Chris Christie, okay? Like everybody in the United States has made jokes about Chris Christie. He was on the cover of Time magazine, and the headline was, the elephant in the room. That was the headline of Time magazine. I myself have made an enormous number of fat jokes about Chris Christie and Donald Trump and Newt Gingrich and everybody else in the Republican Party who's overweight, right? I mean, I've called Donald Trump a fat old bloated sack, right? I mean, like, does Donald Trump collapse over that? No, he doesn't. So is the idea that if you say that about a woman, the woman is weaker? Hillary Clinton's vision of what women are is so insulting to actual women. It's unbelievable. Her actual vision of what women are is they sit around all day long and listen to fight song, eating ice cream, and then if a guy makes a mean comment about their weight, they go and purge. That's Hillary's vision of what a single woman in America is. And so any man who says anything bad about a single... Look, again, does that mean he's not a jerk? No, of course he's a jerk. We all know he's a jerk. I've been saying it for a year that he's a jerk. Everyone knows he's a jackass. But the idea that Donald Trump's jackassery, like his general jackassery, is disqualifying, read a book for God's sake. John F. Kennedy was stooping everything he could find in the White House. LBJ was a piece of vulgar crap. LBJ was a nasty, nasty man. Hillary Clinton was cursing out military members supposedly for wearing uniform. Like this, she was throwing lamps at people. This idea that the office of the presidency is occupied only by the most dignified among us. I mean, come on. Her husband was getting particular pleasures in the Oval Office from the chunky intern. I mean, come on. This is just like, really? Really? Again, does that mean that there's an excuse for Trump to keep this up? No, Trump's a moron. So Trump happens to be a vulgarian and also a moron. So Trump keeps saying over and over, well, she was a fat chick. Okay, Donald, just stop. Just for your own political sake, just stop. It doesn't help. But this is so dumb. This stuff is so dumb. And Hillary, like if she thinks that a lot of voters are going to swivel on a dime, be like, you know what? He called the fat Miss Universe a fatty. The overweight Miss Universe, he called her Miss Piggy. I guess we're going to shift, I guess we can't vote for him anymore. For God's sake, he mocked a disabled reporter, called John McCain not a war hero, and went easy on the KKK and attacked a Gold Star family. And here's where you're going to draw the line, gang? This is the point where you say, I've had enough of this. Back in the 1980s, he said women should be treated like bleep. He said nothing in life matters so long as you have a young and beautiful piece of ass. Okay, these are direct quotes from Donald Trump. But here's where you're going to draw the line, that he called this lady Miss Piggy. By the way, no verification that this ever happened. No verification that ever, like she said it happened, but we have no verification. But it doesn't matter. They have to convince all the women that Donald Trump is a sexist. First of all, I do actually think Donald Trump is kind of a sexist. I also think that he may not be a sexist. Maybe he's just a jerk to everyone. I think the best evidence he's a sexist is the stuff about Ted Cruz's wife. She's ugly. The fact that he's constantly marrying models and then cheating on them with other models. Like, okay, I don't think this is a guy who tremendously respects women in any serious way, But if this is your best example, is Alicia Machado, there are a few holes in this theory. Let me name a couple of them. First, Alicia Machado, this innocent young woman, totally victimized, really, really victimized by Donald Trump. It turns out that she was a suspect in 1998 as an accomplice to a murder. Okay, and then she allegedly threatened the judge with killing him. Also, in 2008, it was reported she gave birth to a narco lord, a drug lord's baby. And a bunch of other drug lords attended the birth. She just became a citizen. So first of all, we should start asking some questions about our immigration system. I mean, seriously. Like people who were murder suspects at one point and weren't prosecuted in Venezuela, which is not known for its fantastic justice system, and then get pregnant by drug lords in Mexico, which is, I think, where this was, that I don't know why they're getting citizenship. That's another question. But if that's your great example of the woman who's victimized by sexism, you could have picked a better. There are 1,000 better examples of Donald Trump being a sexist jackass. Okay, but it doesn't matter. This is the pitch. So Barbara Boxer, legitimately the stupidest woman in the history of the United States Senate. There are smart women in the United States Senate. Barbara Boxer just isn't one of them. She says that Donald Trump interrupting Hillary during the debate was a disrespect of women. Let me just point out, Donald Trump interrupted incessantly during the primaries every man he could find. Donald Trump is a jerk to everyone. But according to Barbara Boxer, he only interrupted Hillary because Hillary's a woman and he couldn't deal with the woman talking.
By the time the debate was over, Trump had interrupted her 51 times, where she interrupted him just 17 times. Does that read to you as a disrespect?
Absolutely. It's a disrespect of women. I can tell you, I remember very well the first time I took office in a local office, I couldn't get 3 words out, Tamron, before my male colleagues jumped down my throat. It's something that they do. I don't even think they realize it. But I think Donald Trump did realize it.
I think Donald Trump did realize. Okay, this is the same stupid woman who said about a military member, can you call me senator? He called her ma'am. And she said, can you call me senator? I earned that. Like, she's looking for sexism behind every tree. It's not sexist, by the way, for me to call her a stupid woman. She is a stupid woman. If she were a man, I would call her a stupid man. I call Donald Trump stupid all the time. But this is the way the left plays the game, is that if you say something about a woman that you would obviously say about a man, you must be a sexist. And that's why the way Hillary tweeted it was a man who insults a woman's weight can't be president. But apparently a woman who insults a woman's weight, she can be president. By the way, women are much tougher on women than men are. Women, when it comes to looks, women are 1,000 times tougher. Women don't even dress for men, okay? Because the fact is that if a woman were dressing for a man, she wouldn't get dressed, okay? Women dress for women. Men don't. This is why a woman can change her haircut and her husband won't notice, but all of her friends will, right? Women care much more about women's looks than men do as a general rule. Like, men want women to be pretty, but the idea that men sit around thinking about, well, I mean, she really has the wrong haircut. She's like, Scarlett Johansson could get a buzz cut and wear blue lipstick and men would think she's sexy. Like, this whole thing is ridiculous. Okay, so Alicia Machado was on Megyn Kelly last night, and Megyn Kelly asks her some questions.
They seem to be denying the specific charges Hillary leveled, which is the language of Miss Piggy and Miss Housekeeping. Was anybody there to witness when he said those things to you?
Well, first, I want to say thank you to give it to me this space and to share my story with Mr. Trump. Then this happened 20 years ago. And, you know, I don't need to share this story if I don't believe that person is not the right person than being a president or trying to be a president. This happened 20 years ago. In that moment, he was not the person that you can see now. Maybe he was more just a business guy. And I was a little girl too, with 18 years old. Mm-hmm. And you know, the only thing I want to do is to share my story.
She just wants to share her story. Isn't that moving? She shows up just in time for the presidential election after being missing for 20 years in action while being suspected of being an accomplice in a murder and also getting pregnant by a drug lord, apparently. And she shows up just in time to vote for Hillary Clinton and rip into Trump for things that he said back in 1997. Honestly, I'm more bothered by Donald Trump attacking the other person on the screen, Megyn Kelly, over her period, than I am about stuff that Donald Trump said in 1997 about a Miss Universe contestant. Again, I'm not making the case he's not a jackass, folks. I'm the #1 Donald Trump is a jackass advocate in the United States, but that doesn't mean that this is the kind of thing Hillary is saying it is, that it's the end of the world. This is the thing that breaks you on him. If this breaks you on Donald Trump, my God. I mean, if this is where you're, now it's over the top. Now he called her Miss Piggy. Now it's over the top. Man, imagine if he called her Fozzie the Bear. So Machado was also on CNN, and she was asked about all these allegations about complicity in murder by Anderson Cooper, and she does not have some very good answers.
An incident in 1998 in Venezuela where you were accused of driving a getaway car from a murder scene. You were never charged with this. The judge in the case also said you threatened to kill him after he indicted your boyfriend for the attempted murder. I just want to give you a chance to address these reports that the Trump surrogates are talking about.
He can say whatever he wants to say. I don't care. You know, I have my past. Of course, everybody has. Everybody have a past. And I'm not a saint girl, but that is not the point now. That moment in Venezuela was wrong, was another speculation about my life, because I'm a really famous person in my country, because I'm an actress there, and in Mexico too. And he can use whatever he wants to use. The point is, that happened 20 years ago.
Okay, so she's not a saint girl. Everybody has experiences in life, like almost being an alleged accomplice in a murder and having sex with a drug lord. We all have that. I mean, I know I've had that experience at least several times. I mean, come on.